Good morning. I think I'm live. How's everyone today? Straight on 9:30, and great to be online today on Facebook Live. Yeah, it's been a really great morning. We started the day this morning at 6 a.m. and walked up to our driveway and shared the moment with many people along outside of their houses, just commemorating and thinking about Anzac Day and what it means to us today. So that was really special. And I really got a lot from Alex this morning and how he was sharing with us his experiences and what Anzac Day means to him. And so it's interesting to get it from different perspectives. And the more I experience each and every Anzac Day, the more I have a little bit more depth and love and appreciation for the sacrifices made in that time, but also throughout all of history for what we can have today. So how are you, everybody? Not sure how many are joining today on live. I'm looking at my comments on the left. I'm going to do my best to make this a really fun and engaged session. I like presenting in front of people, and sometimes in front of a screen it's a little bit different and can have its own challenges, but having the chat and having your collaboration help me along the way will go towards making this of most value to you. My name is Paul Massad, and just a bit about myself. I've been in the corporate technology world and in sales predominantly for over 20 years. And during this time, I've seen a lot of change in technology and the way the world has also evolved with the use of technology. Fast forward to today, where we're in a COVID-19 lockdown situation. Look at us all. We're really using that technology, and thank God for that technology for us to connect, to collaborate, to feel we have a human way of interacting. So technology is a great tool and is a great thing, but also technology can be a little bit, can be out of control. So we have quite a lot of options and a lot of choices, and we need to know also how to disconnect from that sometimes to get back to our inner self. So I'm not sure who's online, but if you're online and you want to say hello, I've got the chat here. So hopefully I could start to see some of your comments. But I've got my cup of tea today, so I hope you've got a cup of coffee, you're having breakfast, whatever you're doing on this Saturday morning. Let's have a fun session, like I said. I want to sort of expand and develop the understanding around, how do we develop our inner selves? How do we sort of just get more comfortable about who we are and make more impact on the world? Good morning, Jamie. Thanks. The first response there. Fantastic. Good morning to you. So today I'll be sharing with you some of the things that I've learned along the way and I've experienced. And, my life, look at all these grey hairs, has been a long journey, and I've been quite fortunate in my life. I've had a lot of opportunities to learn, to grow, and it's been amazing for me. And hey, I've made many mistakes, and along the way, I've made myself pay for a lot of these mistakes until I've started to realise that it's not the best game to play. We need to be a little bit understanding that, we'll make mistakes, but if we keep trying new things and keep evolving, we're doing the best that we can for what we know at the time. So my thoughts, I want to start off with what I'm grateful for, because I'm loving this site and the way people are sharing. And most of you and most of us, sharing is incredibly hard. It's a place where a lot of us, have to put who we are in front of everybody out there. And it's a scary thing. And this is about our inner self. We just need to understand that it's not about ourselves. It's about some message we might have inside that others can capture and use for themselves. We all have a powerful message, or we all have some value to give. And we have to sort of get over ourselves to be able to share that. So today I want to share the 3 things that I'm grateful for. First one, being Anzac Day, and I was thinking about all the sacrifices made by so many people gone before us to ensure that we have the life we have today in this beautiful country. I am so thankful for this country. My parents were migrants, and the opportunity they had when they came in this country and the way they integrated into this country was a beautiful story. But it's given me the opportunity to have such a great life, and I don't want to take that for granted. So I'm thankful for Australia and all the opportunities it's given to me and my family. Also, those opportunities, I'm thankful for all the opportunities that has led me to this place in this time. Presenting here today, being able to share just a little snippet, and most of us who are sharing are imparting something that we hope will add value. And if it does add value, then actually we get much joy from that. And I'm also grateful that I'm loved by my family, and being close to my family this time. I'm just feeling that sense of love. And also, I tend to forget how often they show me that love. So it's been good to sort of be immersed in that and reflect on that as well. So they're my three things that I'm grateful for today. And I'm just going to kick straight in. Thank you, Jamie, and good morning to you, Lee. I'm just going to kick straight in. Developing your inner self. I want to start with positive self-reflection. Now, we all wake up in the morning and we have a mirror we look in front of, and it sort of like presents how are we going to start our day? What do we think? How do we feel? So is it only me, or do I, depends what side of the bed I get up on. Did I dream well? Did I sleep well? Maybe some of my thought processes the night before. But if I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror, what reflection do I see? How do I feel about the person that I see? And more so about not what I see from an external factor. What am I seeing inside this person? Does that person have what it takes to go and seize the day? Every day, if we look at what this site has done and this whole group of people have imparted, it's all about how do we become more grateful and more appreciative of what we have, and looking at things as a half glass full, even in this scenario, in this time. And I know there's many people probably suffering different ways, or some of us, like myself, still fortunate that I have an income and I can still provide. So I'm very thankful for that. But gratitude is such an amazing way to look at how do we seize the day and start the day. So it's part of what I'm going to talk about today. But how we look ourselves in the mirror. How do we have a healthy sense of worth? Our identity is so important. But remember, we're not just one type of identity. We have an identity, and we have many identities within that identity. So we might be brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, parents. We might be CEOs of companies, part of a community group that leads and changes the world. So many identities make up the person we are. And I believe a healthy balance to anything is having a well-balanced amount of identity. So it means that one thing doesn't make you who you are. My role doesn't make me who I am. Just being a father doesn't make me who I am. But many of these things give me a balanced way of who I am as an individual. And also, the healthy self-reflection process helps us move toward the person that we aspire to be. So we're always growing. Every day is a growth plan. I never land. I'll never get to the destination. I'm always getting towards where I want to be. And as much as I grow, there's different levels that I want to sort of undertake if you choose. So it's important that we look from within and from others to help us create what a successful model of what we want in business, in our health, in our well-being, in our skills, hobbies, and passions. So what I want to sort of allude to is look at the group you're around in Happiness Aid and many other groups. We can look at others and we can model some great strategies that we can then take on for ourselves. It's similar to a recipe. So, you get the ingredients, you have the process of putting it all together, and there's the application. And when it comes together, you have an amazing end result, an outcome. And when we model people and what they're good at, we learn from others. We learn from study, but I think we learn from others. And we really look towards those strategies that they're using for success, and we take them on board for ourselves. Now, I was on the live event with Ryan, and I don't know if you all caught Ryan the other day talking about how do we love sales? How do we onboard more into sales? And and become more of ourselves and be authentic and sell with integrity. I learned so much on that call with Ryan, and I looked at some of the strategies he had for success. And it does start with us and it ends with us. And it's about our true selves throughout the whole process and making sure we're aligned to that. So thank you, Ryan. So many tips, so much value from that call. I absolutely loved it. It's also very important. It's great to model people, but we need to really avoid comparing ourselves to others. Now, in the world of virtuality and in the world of social media, you know, we don't really know what the truth is when it comes to other people's lives, what they're sharing, but we sort of get immersed in all the different people and their worlds, and you know, they're successful and they're so much better and they're better looking and they have more of this, and if only I could be like them, or if only I could be like that person. You know what? You're playing a losing game, because there's no one quite like you and there's no one quite like them. We're all made in a different and a unique way, and a very special way. So once we start to understand and accept that, and stop the comparing and just think about modeling as a way of growth, we'll be a lot more healthier, because then we start to look at what the secret sauce is within us. Because the secret sauce, I'll tell you, once you find that, it activates you. And for many, there's more than one secret sauce. There's more what I call a unique selling proposition. What's your value? What's your song? What do you bring to the world that's different from everyone else? So having a healthy appreciation for that, finding that, is very important. So what I want to sort of start to make you think about is start getting comfortable with who you are. What's your value, as I said, and what do others appreciate about you? Go deeper to understand your real value, your real strengths, and your gifts. And that takes you down to what your power and purpose is. And we all possess that. Okay? I'm telling you, I've worked with a lot of people, and they can't see it, but it's interesting how others can see it in them. And sharing that with people is a very important thing along the way. And one thing is important to, when people are talking to us, we're receiving feedback all the time, and they will usually tell you what you're good at. They will give you a clue to your strength. It's always flowing around you. Feedback is always around you, but it depends if we're going to filter it in or filter it out. And that comes back to the value or self-worth that we put on ourselves. So I'm going to start by saying, as an action, start listening better, more intently, and receive it. Open your heart to receiving any praise, any feedback, and be thankful and be gracious. And that's a big problem we have as individuals, because as much as we can give love and give from ourselves, it's just a shortfall if we can't receive it fully as well. I believe receiving is a gift, and it's a free gift, and we should receive whatever comes our way and be thankful. And if we can do that, we can grow so much more in our giving. Now, I've got a little exercise. Every point, I'll probably give you a little exercise. Simon Sinek shared this exercise, and he called it the 5 friends test. And if you're not sure about what your value is or what your gift or strength is, 5 friends, or it could be family, ask them simple questions. What do they see in you that are your strengths, your values? What makes you a good friend? What makes you a good person? Always be open to getting constructive feedback as well. Ask them what areas that you could improve, or you could add, that you could even be more than you are. So important. Be open, be vulnerable, and people will tell you, and bring that on board and say, okay, I'm going to work with that. I'm going to develop that. I sort of have a feeling I'm good at that. I'm going to see how I grow it. So that's a good starting point. It'll help us get a healthier view of ourselves. Now, lastly, this group is phenomenal at doing this. It's all about how we start our day and how we end our day. And starting the day with focus, being grateful for you, your life, and just the way it is, and then looking at the day at hand and what would make it an amazing day. And usually I don't go for more than 3 things. So I think it gets too complicated. I always call things, I like to simplify things. They're complex, it's too hard, you won't do it. So focus on 3 things that you could plan for, that you could focus on, action and achieve. So at the end of the day, you can reflect on your day and the different touch points. What were the conversations? Did you get those things done? What could you have done better? And what did you appreciate? And a big important one is, what did you learn from? What were the gifts of this day? Regardless of if it was not so good or good, but there's always a gift in the day. Rinse and repeat. And also start planning the night before. Like, visualize what you want the next day to look like, what you want to focus on, what you want to plan. So then in the morning, when you do your gratitudes and you start your day, you have a plan, you have an agenda, you're ready to seize the day. And you're going to make it so much more meaningful and amazing. So we'll go straight into developing a healthy awareness. So I call this like having a 360 view of the world. Or a lot of people call it the helicopter view. Let's lift up. Let's have a look what's really going on. Let's see what's happening in your world. Is it true? Is it real? Your perceived and my perceived reality and the meanings and values that we attach to the events, thoughts, and model of the world we create, we interact with that and engage with the world with this on a daily basis. And look, we all live according to our values and beliefs. And they're all different. I might have a value of love, but I interpret it a little bit different to what your value of love is. So the rules around my values are also different. So if I'm living or you're living congruent to your true values and beliefs, everything seems good and right in the world. We're so much happier and we feel purposeful as human beings. So there's a big clue when we're not living according to our values or our beliefs. So we need to always check in and find out what's going on with that. And that's a regular process. So developing a healthy awareness is also being able to capture our thinking, our thoughts, our emotions. But more importantly, it's the triggers that sometimes we're not conscious of or mindful of. And a lot of the time we don't even know why we do what we say. And sometimes don't understand why. It just happened, right? So being able to be more aware of these type of elements, again, is going to be so important into the quality of your life. So in other words, we're not just playing out a subconscious pattern, that becomes activated by an event, by some words, by an emotion, and so on. So you get where I'm going with this. But we become more conscious and we have more control on our thoughts, on our feelings, and most importantly, it's the responses that we give to these. So the more aware we are, the more powerful and purposeful we can then give and receive communication. And I believe the overall quality of our lives is closely linked to the quality of our communications. So that's what I'll leave you with on that one. I have a term called stinking thinking. Yeah. Sort of, I could feel it. I've got a thought, doesn't make me feel good. It triggers an emotion. All of a sudden, I get the downward spiral just from that simple reflection. I've created a lot of meaning around what it means. Maybe I'm not loved. They didn't like me. What did I do wrong? Defensive. And then guess what? The avalanche starts from a little ball, and all of a sudden it's big enough to pulverize a whole town. But what it ends up with is it takes me to a dark and disconnected space and place, and I'm no good to anyone there. And it's so important that we know how to capture our meaning of what we're doing in our thoughts and understand the triggers that are happening, because the better we get at that, the more we're going to have a level of control over our emotions, our feelings, and create better beliefs around some of the things that we could let go of. Now, what's your feedback around your spiraling down? I'm sure a lot of us have certain things that trigger us, but could we capture that? It takes a lot of time and effort to start to capturing that and changing it. Because I believe as much as I could feel that trigger, how do I then bring it up into an aspirational spiral? So reverse the polarity of it and take it to a place that allows me to have, a feeling of possibility of, geez, okay, what am I going to do about this? How can I approach it? And options. So I'm not a victim, but I'm someone who can start to, be on the front foot, be more in purpose, and not let things affect me so much. So become more resilient. I think makes you become more resilient. And even in a trial or tribulation, when you think really tough stuff's happening to you, if you can spin that around and look at the half glass full, such a hard thing to do, easy to say, but very hard to do. But it's something you have to develop, and it takes a lot of consistent efforts, and over time, I believe it can be developed. We all have the ability to change our thinking, our thoughts, the way we look at things. So it leads us into, how do we become accountable? And what's accountability that matters? I know most of you have a lot of different goals, desires, dreams. I call them, look, I'm a dreamer. I have a real creative side to me that is always looking at creating, look at new ideas. And as a kid, I never used to shoot those dreams down. I believed anything was possible. But what changes? It's really how we approach it. And then what we see is, well, hey, maybe it's a bit too hard to get that dream. The amount of work, the amount of effort. But it starts with, how much do I want what I want? And if I'm willing to sacrifice to get it, then I just really need to put the plan together. But as much as I can put a plan together and set some really good goals, it's about the results that we get and the way we make ourselves accountable. So what I'm going to put out there is, are we the best friend to ourselves? How do we help ourselves by being our best friend? Now, we practice lots of this to others, not much to ourselves. It's very tough to focus on ourselves, and it's important that we take care and we love and care for ourselves so we can be there in a more impactful and powerful way for others. So maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. But being a big dreamer, just like Lee's, good on you. It's important that if I want some of those dreams to realize, and I want the outcomes of those dreams, that I need to be very accountable to me. And you all know about the analogy when you get on an aeroplane, they say, these are the rules. If the plane is in an emergency situation, what's going to drop down from above you? The oxygen masks. But put the mask on yourself first before you even think about helping others around you, like your kids or elderly or whatever. So why do they say this? Because guess what? If you're not breathing and you're not in a good place, then how are you going to be any good to anyone else? So it makes a lot of sense that we are in a good place and we put ourselves at the best place of being able to help others. And think about how much you also will encourage your family and friends. I don't know about you, but one of my core gifts is encouragement, words of encouragement. It's important that we can affirm people, and not over affirm, but if we see something nice and we see something special about someone, I believe we should share with them and tell them why it was important to us and why that makes them special. And I think it goes a long way in helping people develop. But also giving them feedback is important along the way. So how much that I am an encourager to others, how do I encourage myself? Now, do I do that for myself? No, I think I suffer from being a very, very hard self-critic, which is something I've had to work on over the years. And you all might you'll be familiar to that, because most of us will always shut ourselves down. It's not people who shut us down, it's us. I think we need to really have that view of how we're being accountable, how we're going to have a plan and set some really cool goals that we can achieve that have purpose. So if we can't be accountable for ourselves, it's very important to find others who can help you be accountable. I have a few accountability buddies. I'm sure most of you on this chat or being live here today, you need an accountability buddy. I definitely need one for my fitness. I love going training, but I won't turn up if I'm doing it on my own. I'll find a partner. And usually now it's a virtual partner. So I'll see that person on a Zoom call, and we'll do our training in our different areas. But I do need accountability around my fitness. So I believe you're in a good place and a space that you can find a good accountability partner in this group. Now, if you have similar goals, it's always better to align those. But if you want to reach out and you want something you want to achieve, whatever it is, find someone in this group or someone that you know you can trust and wants to go on a similar journey. That always helps me and has always helped me. Then it's important that we set up good daily habits. Consistent good daily habits, the way we plan our days. Having a 90-day plan also is very important to me. And if you look at a lot of the fitness trainers, they always talk about a 6-week program, a 90-day program, but chunking that down to weekly and daily is so important to getting to the end goal. And, you need your longer term visionary type goals, 5 and 10 years, about how you want your life and what type of life you want to create. That all buys into the purpose and the bigger why. And I want to touch on why the why matters. And the why matters because what you are doing and what you want to do in your life needs to be driven by a stronger vision towards the goal. Things that draws you towards a goal that you set. Now, for example, if you just wanted to make a certain amount of dollars in 12 months for the sake of making the money, and an obstacle, a roadblock comes along, I guarantee you it would probably stop you or would hinder you getting that goal because it was motivational, not inspirational. There's a big difference. Having a purpose or a why attached to the goal and connecting the goal to that allows you to push past these challenges. It will not stop you giving up. It will get you, I call, a higher self activates and you will be in a better position to achieve that goal. So always attach a bigger purpose to why you're doing that goal. You want to make that money. You want better relationships. It's so many different great goals to set, and they don't have to be all financial, and we need to really move on from that. Financial is a part of it, but our relationships are a very, very big part of it as well. So what I really want to close off with this one is whatever it takes, if you wake up in the morning and there's rain and there's hail, there's shine, you'll push past and you're going to be accountable by doing, saying, and being that person that you need to be today so you can have the life you want tomorrow. That's pretty much how it plays out. Am I being true to the person that I am today? So it's like I'm being that future superhero now because that's who I want to be in the future. I always wanted to be Spider-Man. So am I actually being Spider-Man now? Am I going and saving people and developing my super skills and climbing walls, doing different things and really, really getting good at those things so I can be the best Spider-Man? Anyway, that's me. It's my dream, one of them. We'll see how that goes. But yep, I'm just going to keep moving on, and I just want to sort of wrap up. It's not a long talk today, but it's something that's really important. Why is it important to have regular feedback loops? Well, a good mentor of mine once told me, and it helped me shift my self-critique mode out. I had a real problem with being a self-critic. Told me that failure is feedback. So I needed to find a way to take the sting out of what failure or rejection meant to me. And I needed to then reframe it so I could look at it as something that was feedback, and then it could allow me to learn and grow. So I completely changed the way I had the belief around what failure looked like. And when I look back at all my past attempts at things and maybe non-execution, or we won't call them failures, but they were, I learned quite a lot from them. But did I realize at the time? No, I realized when I did a retrospective. And so when I understood that, and I've taken that new belief on, it's really helped me adjust the way I take on feedback, the way I feel about rejection, the way I get on a Facebook Live and know that it doesn't need to be perfect. I just turn up and be the best self I can today and serve from the best of my ability and be okay with it. And most things I do, if I'm delivering a presentation or a talk, I don't even look or think about the feedback of it until about 24, 48 hours later, because it's just a healthy thing to do. Just move away, do a feedback loop after the event. Take some time out. It's always an easy way to do things. Now, if you look at all these amazing people in the world throughout history that created and changed and shaped the world, now they have tried many different ways and they're continuously experimented in creating so many amazing technologies and products and innovations in medicine, in science, in so many areas. But they failed and they learned and they tried again, and again until they succeeded. People that come to mind: Thomas Edison, our good friend Colonel Sanders. Not that I eat KFC, but he was 65, I think, when he actually had his secret, herbs and spices, his chicken, was able to be sold to the wider public, and now the rest is history. But, just another recent example for me was every time they failed, it wasn't really a failure, but it was a little success that taught them how they shouldn't do it, so they got to the next stage of trying another way. And each failure was a loop until they actually nailed it. So I love the way I saw that as a little success, because it was a learning. If they didn't go through it, they wouldn't know that was the wrong path. Same thing for James Dyson. Now, most of us probably have a Dyson vacuum cleaner. He spent over 15 years creating over 5,000 versions of that vacuum cleaner before he made one that worked. Whoa. I don't know about you, but I think after 10, would have been testing my resiliency. But he had a really great why. Now, if he didn't, he wouldn't be able to be where he is today. And the way he innovates now across all the household appliances and other technologies is phenomenal. The important lesson is we need to ensure we have a way to obtain good feedback. And not only from the metrics of the quantitative feedback, but we need to see the qualitative feedback. So we know how we're tracking. So we also know what we need to change. Yes, change. My ideas aren't always the best ideas. People's feedback might be personal sometimes, but they shape my ideas into better ideas. And that's through feedback. If I don't take that on board, then I might be missing out on such a great opportunity through collaboration. And it's not about my idea. It's about a collaborative idea that once we share and we nurture, we create something even bigger than ourselves. When we think about Julian and what he's created here, it started from an idea, a purpose, a greater why, and then collaborated with a group of people, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and it created a whole groundswell. And we have Happiness Co. now. Isn't that amazing? Just to think about where it started. So, coming back to getting feedback, if we really take on this process well and do regular feedback loops, become less sensitive about receiving it, it'll allow us to really grow and really try out new things. You always need to innovate in life, be it in your personal, your business, and other. Innovation is key. It's trying on a new hat, putting on new thought, a way. Someone gives me a new view of life. Well, why did I think that way? I love to explore. I'm always curious about other people and their experience and why they think the way they do. I've learned most of my things from that type of approach. So we take that on board and we grow. And I'll leave you with Einstein. Einstein was a smart man, amazingly. He was a genius. So he said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So I agree with you, Einstein. I'm going to make sure that regardless of how old I get, I'm always open to change and taking on good feedback, because that's the way that I won't get stale, and that's the way I will always look at growing and learning new things. So I hope some of the things that I shared with you today resonated, reinforced some of your views, some of your learnings that you've already had. This group is quite, I'll call it, it's a real help. It's a very aware group. I believe you have a self, how can I say, a really good high awareness of yourselves. And you're on a learning and growth stage. I mean, this is why we attract ourselves to each other, to share that with each other and to encourage each other. And it's very healthy to do that. So I'm really appreciative that I was able to give you half an hour of today, and it's a special day, Anzac Day. So appreciate being on at 9:30, and I hope today that you're able to get some value into some of the tools or the ways that I've shared with you that helps you get some of your life goals. And more importantly than getting your life goals, if it makes you happier and more purpose driven, then you know what? That's a great result. So thank you. And it would be great to hear some of your stories and some of your strategies. If you want to leave some comments, and I'll definitely respond back to them. What helps you to develop a better inner self? Well, what things do you do on a daily basis? Share them here, and have a great long weekend, this Anzac Day long weekend. Enjoy and be grateful for who you are. Thank you very much. Signing out.